Well, good morning. This is Steve and my hiking buddy Gino.
Good morning, everyone.
And we are, as you can see, finally at the trailhead to Crystal Peak. Actually, not the trailhead. We're at the split in the trail where a few weeks ago we took a left here and went up to Crystal Lake. And today we're going to Crystal Peak this way. And just to give you a little info, we started a half hour earlier today. We met 3 a.m. wake-up call for me. We met in Maple Valley at 4:30, which put us down here a little before 5:30, and it's about 6:15 now, so it's taken us about 45 minutes. We've covered a little over a mile up to this point. Pretty steep elevation, as I mentioned before, and we've got a little bit of a downhill section here, and then we're going to start a very long traverse to our south. And then we're going to come out of the trees and we're going to have some spectacular views on our way up to Crystal Peak. So should be a good day. It's clear out, a little over 50 degrees. Bugs are kind of active, so we've both put on bug spray. 2 cars in the parking lot, both overnighters. So my friend Jeff asked me last night why we start early, and I said to get an early start to avoid the heat, the bugs, and the people, and I think we're going to do that today. So we'll mosey along here. Thanks for hiking with us. Hope you enjoy it. So we're coming up to Crystal Creek, and we're going to cross this bridge. This is the stream that flows out of the 2 crystal lakes from up above. That, if you remember my previous video, we crossed it down by the parking lot. All uphill from here. We got to get started. So this is the only area like this on the hike. It's kind of a talus field that the trail bisects here. When we get up above, we're going to be hiking. Well, we got to go through the forest here, and then we get up above and clear that, and we're up there. Hopefully there's a bunch of flowers in bloom, but blue sky this morning, a few low clouds, and a few high clouds. Let me take a photo of the surrounding area here. Sun's behind us, behind Crystal Peak. That's the other reason we start early. We are shielded by the sun on this hike if you start early enough. So we'll proceed up here through the talus field and check in a little bit later. I wanted to show everybody we're still on this traverse. We've reached an avalanche gully, and we are going way up there. That's where we got to go, but it's a bunch of long switchbacks here that we're gonna tackle as we head that way. But there's the Big R, and down below us is the White River. Beautiful morning. A little bit of a breeze here as we climb higher and higher, but we've got a ways to go here, and so we got to get going. So we're still on this southward traverse. Views are opening up, as you can see, the Big R, Mount Rainier, and not high enough yet to see anything to the south, but we're going to see Adams and St. Helens when we get up here. But as you can see, the trees kind of get sparse as we head up here, and pretty soon we're going to hit open meadows. The flowers, let's see, what do we got here? We got some lupin. That's the purple ones here on my left. And this white is a little bit of bear grass that's still around. And then we've got some yellow, Gino thinks there's some type of daisy. He's quite the amateur biologist, or botanist, I should say. So, and a biologist. He knows all the bird and animal calls and tracks. So, and one other flower up here is the Indian paintbrush, which is this kind of reddish orange here on the hillside. But it's kind of interesting. It's we've got a breeze blowing, and it's keeping the bugs away. But boy, when you stop like I am now, you get chilled. In fact, Gino wanted to check my temperature, and it turns out I carry a thermometer on my backpack, and it's about 50, but it feels a lot cooler, so definitely don't want to stop too much. And we're going to probably be in the shade, I'm going to guess almost to the summit, because like I said, the sun, I'm looking west, the sun's at my back, and Crystal Peak, as you can see in the shadow, is blocking the sun from being over the ridge. So we'll see. Good hike so far. Really enjoy this one on a clear day, and as you know, we've been talking about it for a while and waited for clear weather, and this is why. So more views to come. So we've reached the southern most point of this hike, traverse. So we've come from down there, and we're at the switchback, and we're going to head to the north now. And so Rainier is going to be on our hiking left here. But I was telling Gino, geez, I stopped here for a minute to get a drink of water, and you get chilled. It's blowing pretty well up here. And in fact, I misidentified those flowers earlier. This is bear grass down here with kind of the balls, correct, Gino?
Yep.
I identified these white ones, and so I don't want everybody to think Gino is not a correct botanist. It was Steve who was wrong. So we're going to head up this way to the north, and still climbing, but we're getting close. Checking in a bit. We're on this traverse to the north. I wanted to capture the wind here. Blowing pretty good. Keeping the bugs away. So we're going to go across this hillside, and there is where the sun's hitting. That's Crystal Peak summit up there. So the sun's trying to come over the ridge up above us here. Quite a view. I'll pan around the side of Crystal Peak, heading back toward Rainier here. There it is. Mount Rainier. But you can see the trail is cut through this slope, which is pretty steep here. So it's a nice trail. It's pretty smooth. It's a long uphill slog. So we will have earned this summit. So I'll probably film when we get up there. I'm going to put the camera away until then. And I don't know, we're probably half hour, maybe less away. So we'll check in at the summit. So if you've never done this hike, you make this long traverse to the north, and then we start up. There's a few short switchbacks here, so I'm facing back to the south. But you can see the trail down there. We came up from way over there. You can kind of see the trail through the trees, but we're pretty close now. But yeah, we got a few short switchbacks, and then we'll top out. So that's when I'll check back in. We made it, and it's before 8 o'clock. Wow, not bad for a couple old guys. So this is the summit view from Crystal Peak. Way off in the distance, Mount St. Helens. There's Mount Adams. And down below us here is Crystal Lake. If you remember, we were up there a few weeks ago, and there was snow on the surrounding areas, and it's all melted off. So but as you can see, the sun's up here, and gosh, too hazy to see Baker and Glacier today, it looks like. So let me get up on the very tippy top here. Don't worry, Mom, I've got rocks around me. But what a view. Man, just spectacular. I'll tell you, that last little bit was quite a slog, though. Holy moly, I was running out of gas, because you switch back up, and then actually the trail goes down kind of a steep hillside here for about 30 yards, and when you've climbed all this way, and then you're coming up to the top here, it just kind of wore me out. So anyway, yeah, 5 to 8. So we did this hike 3 years ago, and it took us 2.5 hours. So taking us 2.5 hours again, and which is pretty good for a couple old guys. I told Gino, though, same time, but boy, the bodies between Gino's knee and back and my ankle back, we're falling apart here. So just a spectacular morning. The wind died down as we got up higher, which is interesting. It was blowing like a son of a gun down there, and now I'm real warm up here. So gonna take a break, get some water, get a snack, and we'll film in a little bit. But dang, this is why we wanted to wait for a sunny day. You know, I'm sitting here looking from the summit north, and I think that's Mount Baker way out there. So 4, haven't seen Mount Hood. So 4 Cascade volcanoes on a beautiful Wednesday morning in July. So really like it up here. I was changing my shirt, and I told Gino, geez, I feel like you can walk without a shirt today. It got so warm up here. In fact, I'm going to check my thermometer on my pack. So just a nice day. So to show you what a difference being in the sun makes, we checked my pack thermometer, and we are close to 70 degrees. So about a 20-degree temperature swing here in the trip up from the shade, and the wind has died down up here, and it's nice up here. Haven't seen anybody yet. We were just debating how many people we think we might see. Gino, I'm going to say 20. What do you think?
Yeah, probably mostly on the Crystal Lakes Trail.
So we're refueling here and drinking some water, snacking a bit, and then we're gonna start the long trek back to the car. Gonna be a knee breaker going down, that's for sure. So we'll check in on the way. You know, the one thing I wanted to say, no bugs. So I don't know if they're just waking up or what, but because it's pretty early, but so far so good. Haven't had many bugs. There was a little bit in the forest on the way up first mile or so, but since then the breeze kept them away, and then haven't noticed too many up here. So anyway, we're gonna finish our break, and then we'll head down and we'll check in on the way. So I wanted to show you, we started down off the summit, and first off, the temperature in the shade, it drops back down, but I went, God, what's wrong with my boot? Feels funny. And I have 2 pairs of boot. I have a newer pair that isn't really well broken in, and then I have this older pair that I wore today because I figured this trail would be tough, and the damn sole is coming off. So I'm hoping and keeping my fingers crossed that it stays with me, or I'm going to have an interesting trip down soleless. So I'll something to update you on. So we started down. We have these 2 short switchbacks, and then the long traverse to the south now, and then we're going to come back on the other one to the north, and we're guessing about 20 people. It's about 8:30, so I think we'll be back at the car about 10, depending on our body ailments in my shoe. So we'll check in on the way down, and as we head down, another shot of Mount Rainier for you. A really pretty day. So from the side of Chinook Peak, heading down. We'll check in a while. So on the way up, we were in the shade, and you can see the sun's come over the ridge here. All the more reason to start early, but this is your view heading down. You just glance to the right a bit. The interesting thing, I couldn't get my camera out fast enough. There's an airfield back to our north, and a light plane took off and was coming up this way through the White River Valley, and Gino pointed out that we were at a higher elevation than the plane, so you don't see that often, but just kind of the views that we're having this morning, and boy, what a nice day. And temperature in the shade, it cools back down, and then we got that breeze on this side, so it's a real interesting weather pattern. Seems to be a breeze on the west side of Crystal Peak, and not that we're complaining. And I don't know, probably a 15-20 degree temperature swing between the sun and the shade. So we're on our way down. It's all downhill, and I'll be interested to see. I said it took us 2.5 hours to get up there, and last time I looked, and it took us an hour and a half down. That shows you how steep it is. So we'll see how we do today. We're both kind of hurting, and then I'm walking a little slower because of my sole that's flopping off. So we'll check in on the way down. So we're at the turn. We're going to head to the north now on the way down, and that's going to be that long traverse that's going to take us down to Crystal Creek and the intersection with the trail to Crystal Lakes. But we're taking a short break here at this great view at Rainier. A little bit breezy here, no bugs, and my sole it's hanging on. Ooh, keeping my fingers crossed. It's about half gone, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed that I could stay with it. Neither of us have glue or duct tape, so I may be walking down without a sole. We'll see. So no wisecracks from the peanut gallery. Anyway, we'll check in on the way down. So I wanted to get a shot of Rainier here before we're blocked by the trees, because we are descending at a rapid pace here. But boy, we were just talking. We haven't seen anybody this morning. Kind of surprising, as it's almost 9 o'clock. You'd think that somebody would at least have been up this far. They wouldn't have had to start as early as us. I mean, probably 7:30. So that's kind of interesting. As you can see from the plants and trees moving, it's still blowing down here, but boy, it's cooled us down real nicely, so we're okay with that. It's keeping the bugs away too. So this is kind of the trail we took on the way. Well, it is the trail we took on the way up, but this is kind of what it looks like. Not overgrown per se, but it's bushy in spots, and it's dry, so we're not getting wet, so that's good. So we'll check in down below, probably by Crystal Creek, and give you an update on how many hikers we see on the way. So if we don't see anybody by there, boy, that would be a shock. So through the trees here, another shot of the big R coming up in a second, and that's not me, that's Mount Rainier I'm talking about. Kind of playing peekaboo with us through the trees. I don't know if I'm going to have a shot of it. It's through the trees there, unfortunately. So more to come. Here we go. View of Rainier unobstructed. That's what we like as we continue to head down. Down. And the sole is hanging in there. It's keep my fingers crossed and thanking my lucky stars I've still got it. I was telling Gino, if it had gone out on the way up, I think I would have been in trouble trying to ascend this trail without a sole on my boot. So for now, it's hanging in there. You can see here we're back in the trees, so the views kind of start disappearing the further down we get. So anyway, that's why I took that one earlier, and boy, it's a little overgrown here as I go through the bushes, but we'll check in a while. So way up there is where we were, and this is probably one of the last views we're going to get of the big Rainier today. And as you can see, I haven't mentioned it before, but Steve and Gino living the right way. We've got no clouds in the sky today, which is always a plus. And the little pointy peak on the left side of Rainier is Mount Tahoma, or what is it, Gino?
Little Tahoma.
Little Tahoma, excuse me. And that's a climb in itself. So anyway, beautiful morning. And we've seen one hiker. He was going up, and he told us that as he was leaving the parking lot, it was getting jammed. So we anticipate, he was a young guy and going pretty good, so we anticipate we're going to see quite a few people from here down. So we'll check in a while. crossing Crystal Creek. A couple hikers coming here, so I'm going to turn the camera off and pull my mask up, so hold on a second. So we've reached the junction. It's about 9:30, probably got about a half hour left, and we're up to 7 hikers. After I filmed those 2 coming across, when I was crossing the bridge, we ran into 2 young women, and one of them, Gina, was laughing. She was very interested in my camera harness I wear. I have a front, it's got shoulder straps, and you mount your camera on it and you wear it on the front of you, so it's right in my DLSR, that is, and so you just kind of grab your camera whenever you want and then you slide it back into the holster. And other people have commented to me, but no one was excited as she was. I told Gino it was like she saw a bear out here, so she was really excited to see it. So we'll probably see quite a few hikers now, because in fact, I see someone coming through the trees here, because from here down, it's a joint trail that goes to Crystal Lakes or Crystal Peak. So we'll check in at the bottom and give you a final tally and tell you what time it is when we get down there. So we're in the home stretch. Thanks for watching. So I forgot to give an update on my sole. It's still there, hanging on. Gino says it looks like I have slippers on. It's flopping every time I step. So hopefully it lasts for this last mile plus to the car. But 3 hikers just passed us. They're going to Crystal Peak, so we're up to 10 that we've seen, all heading to Crystal Peak. Glad we started early, beat the crowds, and it's warmed up a bit down here in the woods. We're out of the wind, and as you can see, the sun's up now, and or sun's was up when we started, but it's over the top of Crystal Peak, so it's getting warm. No bugs, so we're happy about that. So we'll check in when we get back down by the car and one final time, and give you the count of hikers and the sole update, and figure out where we're going. We got to decide where we're going next week. And I see someone else coming through the woods there in the bright green. I can't miss them. So anyway, we'll check in a while. So this is Steve checking in one final time. We're almost back to the car and the final bridge crossing over Crystal Creek. So some updates. We've seen 30 hikers today. We saw the 3 up above, and then we got to Crystal Creek, the upper bridge, and by golly, in the first half mile after crossing that, we saw, what was it, 22 hikers. Just all packed together. They weren't together, but there was just a string of them, which kind of coincided with the first guy we saw said when he was leaving that everybody was pulling into the parking lot. So, boy, he was right. There was just a big group, and everybody's going to Crystal Peak today. So Jeff, that's why I started early. We didn't have anybody up there, and we were probably halfway down before we saw that first guy. So, boy, and it's gotten warm down here. So we were saying it's probably going to be pretty warm in the woods up above. So hold on a second. So we're up to 32. So anyway, we saw, like I said, 22 in about a half-mile stretch. They put us at 25, and then since then we've seen 7. And these last 2 groups, all male, young guys, a group of 3 and a group of 2, none of them have masks and neck gaiters or anything. Everybody else has been real good about that. So, you know, it's just common courtesy. Pull it up when you go by and pull it down like we do after you pass. So just my public service 2 cents worth there. But anyway, we are going to, next Wednesday, do a new hike for us. Staying over here on the east side of Rainier, we're going to go up to the Pacific Crest Trail out of Chinook Pass. We're going to hike north up to Sheep Lake, and then climb up to Sourdough Gap, which is up above the upper Crystal Lakes. And so we haven't done that one before, and we thought this might be a good time to do it. And like everything else, we'll come pretty dang early to avoid the heat and the bugs. And I think that one's pretty exposed, so we definitely want to get an early start. If the predicted hot weather next week, we'll want to start up there pretty early. But great hike today. Haven't been up here in about 3 years. Great views at the top. I was getting tired there. I'm sure you could tell my voice. I was laughing because I thought, boy, I'm getting kind of running out of gas there in the last little push to the summit. But like I said, you go up, it's almost 6,600 feet, and then 4 miles one way. So we've done 8 miles today here at Rainier. And but just a fun hike. Saved it for a sunny day, which is what we like, to see all those great views up there. So from Crystal Creek, crossing it for the final time today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hiking with us. We'll catch you next week.